Welcome to Visual Studio Code Setup, second video of the series extensions. What we're going to do in this video is learn how to set up some generic extensions for our workspace that we set up in the previous video. If you haven't watched that video, go ahead and check it out first, because we're going to go ahead and kind of build on the workspace that we set up as we go through this series. So last video I didn't talk about your sidebar very much. What you'll notice in Visual Studio Code is this sidebar on the left hand side that, if you have the Explorer closed, will kind of look like this. At the top you have your File Explorer that shows all of the files and folders in your workspace that you have open. You'll have a search option. You'll have some other just general items such as source control, debug. We'll get into those a little bit later throughout this series. What we're going to focus on today is extensions. If you go ahead and click on extensions there, you'll see that probably you'll see a list of recommended extensions that Visual Studio Code is going to prompt you for to maybe install if needed on your workspace. What we're going to do is, since we have an HTML file already built from last video, we're going to go ahead and search for HTML extensions up in the search bar here. You'll see that I have a couple extensions already installed. Just to kind of give an idea, I do like this one here, the IntelliSense for CSS class names in HTML. What this does is this will give you basically a prompt for class names that you have already in your workspace. Once you build a style sheet, and we'll do that here a little bit later, you'll see that as you go along and are classing different items in your HTML page, if you have this extension installed, Visual Studio Code will prompt you for those names rather than having to switch back and forth to see what you class something as. The other one I want to talk about today, kind of more in depth, is this HTML boilerplate extension. This is an extension for HTML5. It is pretty useful for setting up all of your generic HTML pages. I use this a lot to give basically a template or a starter page for me. I'll go ahead and uninstall this so we can see how to install any extensions that you come to. What you'll see is you'll see some details here down below of exactly how to go about it, what it's used for, some more information on contributions, etc. So up top here, you'll get your little install button. We'll go ahead and install that for Visual Studio Code. And what you'll see is you'll see a disable button further along in the workspace. If you have extensions that are specific to one thing, such as a JavaScript or a C# function, something that you need only for one type of thing, you can disable that via just the workspace so that the extension itself is still active in the workspaces that you need, but isn't active and interfering with anything that you're doing in this workspace. So let's check out how this extension works. We blanked it out. I kind of got rid of everything from last time, and type in HTML. And what Visual Studio Code will do is it will prompt you for either extensions or anything it can find in its IntelliSense that matches that HTML. So we're going to go ahead and choose HTML5 boilerplate, and if you hit enter, you'll see that it auto loads a lot of information for you. You'll see at the top it's got your doc type HTML, which is HTML5 doc type. You'll see it gives you information and some HTML items that are specific to Internet Explorer. This is something that, as a coder, it's useful to have, because sometimes you don't remember. You need to add different items for Internet Explorer to function properly running your website. Another thing that this extension, and a lot of extensions, will do for you is they'll auto start you at a specific point that needs edited in this extension. So you'll see here where my cursor is blinking in the title that we're going to go ahead and give this a title. Now the cool thing is, if you go ahead and hit tab, it'll take you to the very next item that is ready for editing content, such as this one is a style sheet. It's pretty handy to have this extension. Super easy to kind of go through and work with, as well as getting any index page or any HTML page for that matter set up as a generic, just a default page ready to go that you can add content to really quickly. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out my other videos as well. And please provide any comments below if you guys run into anything that you see that's cool or that I missed.